Cancer cannot get a hold on the body if the liver is running well. It's a recoverable organ. It's the only organ in the body that has the ability to regrow.
Did you know that liver failure can happen silently? Your liver, the ultimate project manager of your body, sits right under your right rib, working around the clock. But here's the good news. According to Barbara O'Neill, the liver has an incredible ability to regenerate itself, and she's uncovered a groundbreaking method to reverse fatty liver in just 3 days. Stick around till the end because we'll be sharing a powerful liver detox salad, insights on how emotions impact your liver and how to manage them, and most importantly, the surprising signs that your liver is healing. Let's get into it. First, let's understand why the liver is such a crucial part of your body.
So very important to understand the liver. We need to have a look at what your liver does with the food that you eat, because every single thing that goes into your body goes through your liver. Everything that's coming out of your body goes through the liver first and under the jurisdiction of the liver. And that's what we're going to be having a look at today after we have a look at what happens when food goes in.
Now let's look at the food and the role it plays.
So let's first of all look at food. Never in the history of mankind have human beings eaten so many carbohydrates. What would most Australians have started the day with? We know because there's a whole aisle devoted to it. Cereal. Cereal is Aussie's favourite breakfast. And sometimes toast. You can buy bread in every corner shop. It's a very abundant food. Australians love their pies, and Europeans have introduced Australians to pizza, another fast food, and pasta, the very popular pasta, popular food. Rice. Asians have introduced Australians to rice. Potatoes. My husband's an Irishman. He loves potatoes. Would you agree with me? Australians are high carbohydrate consumers. This morning I talked about the gastrointestinal tract. Well, it is the liver that determines where that tiny substance goes. It is glucose. Once glucose gets into the blood, it goes on the M1 main highway straight to project manager. It's called the portal vein. And then the project manager, your liver, determines where that glucose goes. The first place it will send glucose is to the cell. Glucose gets sent into the cell. When it goes into the cell, it goes through a 20-step pathway. And that 20-step pathway gives us 2 units of energy. The end result of that 20-step pathway is a chemical form of glucose called pyruvate. Pyruvate is the chemical form of glucose that gets fed into the powerhouse. What a difference. And why the difference? The difference is oxygen. This pathway uses oxygen. This pathway does not use oxygen. What a difference oxygen makes. By the way, right now we're looking at the fate of glucose. So number one, the first place that the liver will send this glucose is to the cell to be burnt as fuel. But on a high carbohydrate diet, there is still a lot of glucose left over. It stores this glucose like a little bunch of grapes. They're little molecules of glucose, and they're called glycogen. Glycogen is a name given to quick release glucose stores. It is your glycogen stores, specifically in your muscle cell. But the liver can store glycogen too, so it can be a fantastic reserve supply for your brain. But on a high carbohydrate diet, releasing a lot of glucose, we still have glucose left over. Even when it's been fed through the energy cycle, even when it's been stored as glycogen, and only so much glycogen can be stored, now the body, specifically the liver, sends it over to the most amazing fuel depot in the human body. It's called fat. And in many Aussies today, the glucose keeps coming, and the body, as we talked about earlier, gets into a habit. And shunt, the glucose gets into the habit of all just going over to the fat cells. And what's happening to most Aussies today? They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Did you know that we've overtaken America? 63% of Australians are today overweight or obese. So this is the third place that the liver sends the glucose to be stored as fat. This is a fact many do not realize. It was only about 6 months ago, Time magazine, front page of Time magazine, it said why we were wrong on the fat. And a recent Catalyst show said its title was Fat or Fiction. It is starting to be acknowledged, what I'm showing you today, that fat's not the problem. The problem is this high carbohydrate diet that many Aussies are consuming is being stored as copious amounts of fat. And often when people want to lose weight, they stop the fat. But the fat's not the problem. The problem is this high carbohydrate diet, forcing the body to store the excess as fat stores. And so what happens now is the person's getting big, and so they eat a lot of carbohydrate. That's what usually happens, because that's one of the roles of fat in digestion, is to give the feeling of satiation or satisfaction. What does that mean when you're 150 kilos? Not much. He said, I'm a business analyst, and if something doesn't work, you don't keep doing it. You see, there are 3 food groups that keep the food in the stomach longer. One is fiber. Glucose is bound up in fiber, and fiber slowly releases the glucose, and that's what we want to keep us going between meals. Protein keeps the food in the stomach longer because fat coats the meal and slows down the digestive enzymes. He said, I was never hungry. The weight just fell off me. The liver specifically can break down your fat stores to give you glucose. It's called gluconeogenesis, producing new glucose from the stores. You see, these 3 food groups are the essential food groups. Fiber is absolutely necessary for the colon to keep things moving. Is the fiber content of most of your grains where you'll find your B vitamins, essential vitamins. Protein is essential. 50% of the membrane around every cell in the body is protein. That's a pretty important part. Protein is the most abundant substance in the body. Fat is an essential nutrient. The membrane around the brain cell is 70% fat. At a later date, I'm going to look at fats. There are fats that are dangerous and there are fats that are healing. But as the nutrition world is starting to see, and as all these authors I just quoted to you show, fat is essential. Your fat-soluble vitamins cannot be accessed unless you're eating them with fat. Carbohydrates are not bad. Carbohydrates are not even dangerous. It's only when they are refined and overdone that the danger arises. But as the non-essential, that's your negotiating part of your food. Don't negotiate your fiber, protein and fat. They're essential. It's the carbohydrates that are the negotiating part. And the negotiations change depending on your age, depending on your height, depending on your size, depending on your fitness, depending on your physical, mental output through the day. So the other part where negotiations is a very important part with carbohydrates is health status. Let's go to our carbohydrate list and see how many are from the grain department. Lentil, chickpeas, lima beans, black-eyed beans, cannellini beans, kidney beans, soy, split peas. Legumes are high in carbohydrate and medium to low in carbohydrate. Legumes are approximately 1/3 the carbohydrate content that you will find in your grains. Another herb-bearing seed is the seed. Pumpkin seed, sesame seed, sunflower seed, chia seed, flaxseed or linseed. Seeds are high in protein and they are quite low in carbohydrate. What's a fruit-bearing seed? That's your nut. So your nut comes from the fruit of a tree. Macadamia nuts, beautiful nut. We've got walnuts, pecan nuts, Brazil nuts, hazelnut, almonds, so many nuts. Nuts are high in protein and quite low in carbohydrate. My suggestion is that you increase the legume, nut, seed part of the meal and decrease the grain part of the meal. That is an easy way to help get the balance on a vegetarian diet. Most people stop the fat because of cholesterol. What I'd like to show you now is the truth about cholesterol. Cholesterol is made by the liver, and 80% of the cholesterol that the liver makes is made from glucose, and 20% is made from fat. Dr. Atkins showed in the 80s that dietary cholesterol has little or no effect on blood cholesterol levels. Dr. Dwight Lundell, cardiovascular surgeon, has written an ebook called The Great Cholesterol Lie. We have a book in our library by Dr. Dingle, Dr. Peter Dingle, and it's called The Great cholesterol deception. What I want to show you now is the role that cholesterol plays in the blood. HDL is the carrier. It carries away excess cholesterol. That's why it's seen as the good guy, and you can see that. LDL is the repairer and the rebuilder. They work together in the capillary maintenance, the road workers of your blood system. Now let's say the person's smoking cigarettes. The nicotine weakens the cells even to the point of a hole can be made in the blood vessel. LDL plugs up the hole. And they're supposed to be eating nourishing foods. Your vegetables are high in fibre, high in minerals, low in sugars. They're the healers. There's your high fibre. Protein, you need those building blocks to heal. Good fats to nourish that cell wall. But sadly today, many people are unaware of the dangers of smoke. The cigarette smoke mold. Eat fast food that is very low in nourishment. And the arterial wall, the artery is actually getting narrower and narrower. It's called atherosclerosis. And so the person is put on Lipitor or Crestor, which is cholesterol lowering medication. And that cholesterol lowering medication blocks the pathway in the liver that the liver uses to make cholesterol. That same pathway is the pathway that the liver uses to make coenzyme Q10. Coenzyme Q10 is your heart protective enzyme. So a person can go on Crestor or Lipitor in the hope of preventing a heart attack and actually increase their susceptibility. Lipitor, one of its side effects is Alzheimer's, dementia. Another side effect is muscle cramping and muscle wasting. No, the human body can heal itself, and it will heal itself if you give it the right conditions, even to the point of balancing out cholesterol levels.
Now, let's check out the most important part of our video, the salad we promised. Trust us, if your liver could talk, it would thank you for this salad. It's packed with ingredients that naturally support detoxification and overall liver function. Dandelion greens help flush out toxins, while avocado provides healthy fats and glutathione, a powerful antioxidant that keeps the liver running smoothly. To make it, start with a base of fresh, washed dandelion greens. Add ripe avocado, creamy and rich, balancing the slight bitterness of the greens. Cherry tomatoes bring a touch of sweetness, while thinly sliced red onion adds a bit of sharpness. For an extra liver-supporting boost, sprinkle in some pumpkin seeds, full of zinc and crunch. The dressing is simple but powerful. A mix of extra virgin olive oil and fresh lemon juice helps stimulate bile flow and activate liver enzymes. Turmeric, with its well-known anti-inflammatory properties, pairs with black pepper to enhance absorption. A pinch of sea salt ties everything together. Drizzle the dressing over the salad, toss gently, and it's ready to serve. For an added boost, enjoy it with a warm cup of dandelion tea. When the liver starts healing, the body responds in ways you might not expect. Energy levels rise, and mental clarity improves. That stubborn belly fat starts to melt away, bloating disappears, and digestion feels smoother. The skin looks fresher, and even the whites of the eyes become brighter. Cravings for sugar fade, replaced by a more balanced sense of hunger. It's the body's way of saying, thank you. But liver health isn't just about food, it's also about emotions. Stress, anger, and suppressed feelings can take a toll, slowing down the liver's ability to function. In traditional Chinese medicine, the liver is directly linked to emotional well-being, especially anger and frustration. Chronic stress releases cortisol, a hormone that, over time, can contribute to fat buildup in the liver. Healing isn't just about what's on the plate. Deep breathing, especially the 4-7-8 technique, can help calm the nervous system and support liver function. Journaling allows emotions to be processed instead of stored in the body. Meditation helps reduce stress and create space for healing. When the mind and body work together, the liver gets the break it needs to repair and thrive. It's not just about detoxing, it's about giving the liver what it needs to work at its best, physically and emotionally. When that happens, the whole body feels the difference.